On Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer gave an update on how much AEW is being paid by Warner Bros. Discovery in its new media rights deal. The deal was announced on Wednesday and is a 3-year agreement with an option for a 4th year. Dave Meltzer reports that the deal is worth $555 million over those 3 years at an average of $185 million per year. Dynamite and Collision will remain on their respective homes of TBS and TNT in the deal. Those shows will also stream live on streaming service Max for US subscribers starting in January 2025. Starting later in 2025, AEW pay-per-views will be offered live on Max at a discounted price per event. All marketing and promotions of the pay-per-views will be exclusively centered on Max. Warner Bros. Discovery CEO of US Networks Kathleen Finch told The Hollywood Reporter that the launch date for AEW pay-per-views on Max is to be determined because the technology to offer the shows is still being developed. Rampage is expected to be discontinued with the new deal. A new show, AEW Shockwave, could potentially land on Fox. Former WWE star Shelton Benjamin is now All Elite, making his debut on Wednesday's 5th anniversary edition of AEW Dynamite. During a backstage interview with fellow signee MVP, in which he promised a big announcement, he was interrupted by Prince Nana following last week's confrontation at Grand Slam Dynamite. Nana made it clear he didn't like what happened and reminded MVP he used to be a wrestler and would lace up the boots right there. MVP said that sounded like a complaint and he didn't deal with complaints, but he does, and pointed to Shelton Benjamin, the president of his complaints department. Shelton then asked Prince Nana if there was a problem, took his coffee cup, and walked off screen with MVP. Shelton Benjamin and MVP are 2/3 of what's expected to be the Hurt Syndicate in AEW, an updated version of the Hurt Business in WWE. Bobby Lashley has yet to debut in AEW, but that is expected to happen sooner than later. The 49-year-old's longtime run in WWE ended in September 2023 as he was released. In March of this year, he confirmed he had spoken with AEW and that the ball was in their court. After being out several months with an injury, former AEW Trios champion Jay White made his return to AEW during Wednesday's 5th anniversary episode of Dynamite, with a target in mind: Hangman Adam Page. Hangman had just defeated Juice Robinson and then proceeded to choke him out with his belt. White's music hit and he surprised Page from behind, eventually brawling with the former AEW World Champion in the stands, spearing him through a table. Jay White had been out of action with a foot injury since the July 6th edition of Collision, losing to Page in the semifinals of the Owen Hart Foundation tournament. The injury resulted in White and the Guns being forced to vacate the trio's titles. Assuming a match between them is on tap soon, Jay White will be facing a man on a roll, as Hangman Page has won 5 straight singles bouts dating back to August. Moving on, Tuesday night's WWE NXT, the show's premiere episode on the CW network averaged 895,000 viewers. That's up 44.4% from the final episode on the USA Network and is the best audience for NXT since October 10th of last year, when it was loaded up with main roster stars and went head-to-head against AEW Dynamite. NXT drew a 0.26 rating in the 18-49 demo, up 36.8% from last week. It matches the highest rating the show has done in that category since the same October 10th episode from 2023. And speaking of NXT, Cora Jade is back. Cora Jade made her surprise return to the promotion on Tuesday's CW premiere episode, aiding Roxanne Perez in her NXT Women's title defense over Julia. As Roxanne took the referee, a hooded figure attacked Julia at ringside during the title match. The interference allowed Roxanne Perez to hit the Pop Rocks and pin Julia to retain her title in the first NXT bout of the CW era. Cora Jade had been out of action since suffering a torn ACL at an NXT house show in January, just 1 month after returning from a 5-month hiatus from the brand. Cora Jade later underwent surgery to repair the knee injury. Additionally, Trick Williams is NXT champion once again. Trick Williams defeated Ethan Page in the main event of Tuesday's show. Page went for a boot, but Trick Williams dodged and connected with the trick kick to win the championship for a second time. Ethan Page had held the title for 86 days, defeating Javon Williams, Trick Williams, and Shawn Spears back at the NXT Heatwave on July 7th. Cody Rhodes is teasing that there will be a big announcement made this weekend concerning WWE Crown Jewel. The WWE Champion was a guest on the Pat McAfee show on Wednesday and said there will be a video package played at WWE Bad Blood that will reveal title implications for Crown Jewel on November 2nd. Cody Rhodes continued to say that he's looking to main event WrestleMania again next year. He teased that what he does on the show could be bigger than anyone anticipated. Cody Rhodes is scheduled to team with Roman Reigns on Saturday in Atlanta at Bad Blood. They will face the Bloodline team of Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. Cody Rhodes also spoke about the video of him and Roman Reigns at Georgia Tech that aired on SmackDown recently. He said that he and Roman never said a word to each other before they even started filming, saying, "We stood on opposite sides of the field for all of the pre-shoot as they were getting the lights and everything ready. No discussion whatsoever, no awareness of what the other might say to the other, and we just walked across the field, met at the 50, ran it straight through, and hats off to Mr. Heyman, Jeremy Borash, and Rob Fee because they put this thing together in such a cinematic way." And in case you missed it, we have some WWE Raw news and updates. Seth Rollins is back. Seth Rollins interrupted the main event of Raw, which saw Bronson Reed battle Braun Strowman in a last monster standing match. The finish had Bronson Reed hit a superplex on Braun Strowman, causing the ring to collapse. As both Strowman and Reed were struggling to get to their feet before the 10 count, Seth Rollins entered the ring and gave Bronson a curb stomp on the steel stairs. That allowed Braun Strowman to pick up the win. Back in August, Bronson Reed had attacked Seth Rollins in the ring and gave him 6 tsunami splashes off the top rope, causing internal bleeding. Dave Meltzer later reported in the Wrestling Observer newsletter that the angle took place so Seth Rollins could take time off to recover from an injury. He underwent surgery earlier in the year to repair a torn meniscus. And speaking of injuries, Ilia Dragunov is out of action. During Monday's Raw, it was announced that Ilja Dragunov tore his ACL during a house show match this weekend in Columbus, Georgia, where he lost to Gunther in a match that had been for the World's Heavyweight Championship. Joe Tessitore on commentary said Ilja is now expected to be out for 6 to 9 months. That's a wrap for this episode of The Latest. As always, make sure to check back here to F4W Online for plenty more pro wrestling coverage.